listening to the Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technological advanced silhouette decoys on the market. And Vortex Canada, the force of optics.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Union 0430, episode 87. No big deal, Sidney Crosby's number. And I, yes, continue to have a man crush on Sidney Crosby. Everybody, episode 87. I'm totally at a whack, Dave, because we just recorded a show earlier today. And I'm totally at a whack. So, light again tonight. Mark had to step away at the last minute, just found out that his dad, had some medical things. So sending nothing but big love and lots of positive thoughts to Mark and his family, back in Newfoundland. So just me, Phil and Dave tonight, but you know, we missed Phil last week. And Phil is such a big presence that, he really
shut your mouth right now.
He really just needs a medium for himself, right? And I really wish you could have listened to the banter between Dave and Phil before I hit the record button on firefighters and police officers, because it was pure comedic gold. I'm not going to lie.
It's funny 'cause all our A-list material is before we record.
No, I have no problem of opening that can of worms up once again and letting you two go at it. It warms the cockles of my heart just to hear you guys going at it. So Philly is coming to us all the way from Port Perry, Dave from Kincardine. I am just outside of Kingston, Ontario, and we are 3/5 of the Union 0430. So again, thanks everybody for listening. Please do me a solid and subscribe and like and hit the bell if you're watching on YouTube, because it would mean the world to us. And that's all I got to say about that. So
tell your
boys,
friends, tell your goddamn friends.
Tell your neighbors.
Tell your goddamn. You know what? Tattoo it on yourself. Tattoo.
Right.
Yeah, do it. Well, look at, you know what? You want to know this is something. Drew Galloway. Like, what a fan Drew Galloway is. He is so much a fan that the entire back window of his truck pays homage to Punisher Waterfowl.
Yes, he does. Drew is good shit.
Love you, Drew.
He is.
Drew's good shit.
And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, that's what a real fan does. I'm not going to lie.
And you know what? He doesn't ask to be pro staff. Just saying.
Doesn't ask for a discount, does he?
No.
I actually, you know what? That's funny. So today there's a friend of mine. He's got a little bit of a veteran business here in the Kingston area. So I picked up a couple things from him today. And he said, thanks, man. He said, you never asked for a discount. I'm like, well, you're my buddy. I want to see you succeed. So I'm not going to ask you for a discount. I'm sure you get enough of those requests from people that you don't know. I'm not going to be the person to ask you for a discount. I'm supporting you. So anyways, I digress. Hey, anyways, you hear about the firefighter and the cop that walked into a bar?
Here we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's not funny when he says it, right?
No.
It's coming from a place of love between Phil and I, but you're just like an outsider that's trying to like poke bears.
That's right.
It's called
That's
third wheel.
Yeah.
no,
right?
That's exactly what I do. That just like today, Dave, when you can consistently say that you're not going to go to Maryland and hunt. And what did I do today?
Yeah.
I planted the seed to get somebody to come to Maryland. And I would like to think he's seriously considering it now. And now you had to consider it because that person is coming.
I'd
That's
also
what
like
I
to
do.
point out, Jeff
That's what I do.
Coates is tempting me to go to Maryland.
Oh,
Sure.
That dude,
sure.
that dude is. I keep watching his videos and his little. Yeah, that dude is awesome. You know.
I have one request when you guys go down to Maryland.
And what would that be?
You need to, because I won't be able to make it because I'm already doing one big trip this fall.
That's right.
But when you go down there, you need to go to Molly's and get me the official
Oh yeah, we will.
Jeff
buddy.
Coates drinking tumbler in Bottomland camo.
We will.
Bottomland.
We will. Actually, it's just well to let the cat out of the bag. Dave started the button the bug in Jeff's ear yesterday about getting Molly's to move north and put a store in Canada. So hey, if anybody in 10 years there's a Molly's in Ontario, you can thank Dave for that. Just saying.
I said it could be called Molly's North.
Molly's North. Yeah.
Boom.
Boom. Mic
And if
drop.
there's a Molly's North, the Molly's North has to have a crabs to go inside of it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we have
Yeah.
to have like a Moose Burgers or
Don't piss in my cornfless, David.
a Beaver Tails. Well, crabs down in Maryland makes
Who
sense.
doesn't like beaver?
Right? Yeah.
It's a bit of a personal
you know
question.
what? So before the episode, we were talking about, hey, what should we talk about tonight, boys? And I was just about to say, like, we should talk to Phil about how to start an Only Phil's because gas is getting expensive for scouting.
Right?
Very
Right.
much.
So some of us are
Right.
going to need to start, and don't judge us. Don't judge us. Like, gas is expensive and I want to find birds.
$20 is $20.
Yeah.
So the play on, Phil's Only Phil's page, we're going to come out with a Punisher Waterfowl calendar where we
12 months of Phil.
where Phil is dressed scantily, and you send us $20, we won't send you a calendar.
In fairness, I'm sure we could get Dave. Dave being a volunteer firefighter, we can get Dave in a pair of camo bibs and like
Sliding
no shirt
down the pole.
Nope.
just with the shoulder straps covering his nipples.
You know what? You know what we could.
Little bit of face paint.
You know what
Because
we
I can't
could
grow
do.
facial hair.
You know what we could do? We could talk to Kiri Lalonde because Kiri Lalonde is a dancer, and she could probably teach Dave some moves with coming down the fire pole. Do you guys have a fire pole, Dave?
No.
Do you guys?
Well, that's like a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't happen anymore.
No.
Well, especially not with volunteer. Like, volunteer stay at their homes, right?
Right.
Whereas full-time firefighters will stay at a fire hall and have a pole to go from their living quarters down.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Right.
Yeah, like that's like a dying tradition, unfortunately.
You just killed a childhood dream of mine, Phil. Way to go.
Try my
I want
best.
it. I was really at some point in my life, I was hoping to go to a fire hall and slide down the pole.
Well, I'm sure I
there's
can
still
take you
some
to
of them.
another place and have you slide down a pole.
I've done that before, I'll have you know. And the bouncers didn't like it, I'll have you know.
No, they didn't. Two
No.
large men carried you out the door.
In my younger years, I may have done some silly things. Fellas, I wanted to talk about something, and this could probably lead to more topics, but Dave and I were chatting with a gentleman today, and he was telling us, and he's down in the States and within the waterfowl industry, and he was telling us one thing that he's found out is that up in Canada, we buy waterfowl hunting gear 12 months out of the year. It's not just a month or two before the season or during the season. It is all year long, which really is impressive and somewhat of an enigma when you think about it, because first off, most Canadians, I would think, and I think this is a fair statement to make, that most waterfowl hunters that I know are very frugal when it comes to their money. So, you know, watching for that right deal. They don't overspend on anything. They're the very first people to say, well, I don't know about, that's a lot of money for one one decoy or whatever. So to hear that we spend all year long, whereas down in the States, when the season's over, there's no more purchasing. Or it is, this is the way it is in this guy's point of view anyway. So I'm just curious, like, are you guys still buying gear for, you know, September coming? Like, are you actively shopping right now for more gear?
So personally, when I, like, after the season's over and throughout the season, I'm like, man, you know, it'd be good to have this, but it's not in the budget right now. And then I'll start putting money away, and then I'll be watching for it. One of the problems I have is I hate buying anything from the States and risking border crossing. If number one, if they don't tell me who they ship through, I won't buy anything, because if they ship through UPS, UPS can suck a donkey, right? Like that. UPS is terrible. UPS every single time.
We've hit
right?
a nerve.
So I wait and I see. So then I start watching on Canadian Waterfowl Supply. They have a nice little feature that the things I want, I put
Notify
in.
me.
Notify me, right?
Yeah.
If it notifies me in June, I'm buying it in June so that I don't wait till September and it's out of stock again, right? So I think up here, it's a supply and demand thing. Like when it's in stock, you get it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I couldn't agree with you more, Dave. Like, I find, like, with us being up here, like, you know, it's a heck of a lot smaller market, and we have a lot less options to purchase from. So, like, when you need that ticket item, whether, you know, it's a new decoy bag, the latest and greatest pair of waders, whatever the case may be, the second you see that item come available, guys are scooping it.
Yeah.
So I think that leads to,
good
like, you know, the guys buying stuff year round. And again, I'm the same way, whether, you know, it's, you know, a supply and demand thing, or just like, I'm just trying to get ready. I'm just trying to keep myself busy, for lack of a better thing. You know, I'll buy, like, when I was rigging diver decoys, you know, you need something to do during the winter, like, say, starting now, because now late goose season's done. I'm buying rolls of paracord. I'm buying, like, the big, what do they call it? Like the lobster trap clips, like for long line things. You buy them whenever the hell they show up, and then you spend your summer rigging decoys. Like, I was painting the Dixies there for a while.
I think we have a secret to tell Phil about diver decoys, don't we? I don't think.
Well, you know what? If he listens to the episode that drops Friday, he'll know the secret that
I will be listening to said episode.
Our friends at Lifetime are coming out with divers.
Getting dropped Monday. So to those that are listening to this episode on Monday, I listened to the episode last Friday.
Yeah.
It's like it's a Jedi mind fuck, I know.
Okay, anyway, back to what we were talking about. Yeah. So here's a question for you, boys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get rid of my goose floaters, right? When is the right time to post them for sale? Like, season basically just ended. Do I post them now, or do I wait till closer to the season start?
So here's my opinion on it. And Phil, you jump in. Yeah. When it comes to this, so I've been looking after Punisher waterfowl for a number of years. And the mentality that I always had, which is probably the reason why I didn't take off, was during the waterfowl hunting season, everybody's already bought all of their gear. The only stuff they're going to buy when the season's on the go is the last minute, just the simple small things that break on them. I.e., like me last year, I was on the look for a new lucky duck, right? Not a spread. Now, when it comes to the spring of the year, I was told that most people who are duck hunters are also fishermen, and all of their money is being put towards fishing gear. If you want to sell something or if you're a consumer and you're looking to buy something, I think that July, August timeframe is when I would think that's when Pat Hendricks at Canadian Waterfowl Supplies. Now, I could be totally wrong here, but I would think that that's the time frame that Pat is hoping he gets all his inventory, is that July, August timeframe, when people are just, okay, the season's 2 months away, now's the time. So in a long, very long roundabout way to answer your question, Dave, I think summer is when you want to sell your decoys. Phil.
I think, well, at least in my opinion, there's two types of like purchasers, consumers, buyers, and sellers when it comes to waterfowl gear. I'm on the side of I shop 24/7, 365. Like like currently I know right now I need a new 12 slot decoy bag because I busted the handles off one of mine this season. No big deal. But like if there's someone who's like-minded, like myself, that posts said item for sale, like, you know, next month, I'm probably going to scoop it because I need it. Like regardless of whether I need it now or next September, I still need said item. I can't get around it. Then there's the vast majority of guys where, like, you know, there's that section of hunters where, like, yeah, it's the July, August, you're tickling in early September.
Yeah.
Last minute smash and grab, trying to get stuff. And now, like, oh, just like things are sold out. Like, you basically shot yourself in the foot. We can revert back to a previous episode where I made comments about procrastination. Mm-hmm. You're just screwing yourself. Yeah. But like I said, I'm a 365 shopper. Like, you know, like we're in the middle of March. I've already started buying muskie baits for the summer because, like, for those who know, I love my muskie fishing and stuff. Muskie doesn't open until the first week of June. We're in March and I'm already buying shit. Why? Because, well, shit, I got nothing better to do with my time. And when we come to the Sportsman Show, I'm going to be left unsupervised with a clean visa. That's a
and there's lots of muskie.
That's a recipe for a goddamn disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I have a question for you regarding that, Phil.
Yep.
How do you hold a clean visa with a wife?
It's mine.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have a joint account.
Right.
We have a joint account. I've got one visa.
Are next to in Trisha's purse next to our credit card.
Yeah, that's problematic. See, like you need to revert. You need to rewind the tape like 15, 20 years and set shit straight from the word go. So my I legit, I've had the same visa for like 20 fucking years. I got one and one only. Why? Because you only need one. And so I've got my own visa. Dana and I have like a shared bank account, and then she's got like 2 visas and a fucking line of credit, which is like just bad news bear.
See, I would have one, but then we would have a $3,000 camera right now if I had a credit card.
I love how all these episodes are tying into each other, right?
So even more reason for people to listen to every episode, because if there's a joke that you don't get, it's probably because you didn't listen to that episode.
And we're just teaching you life hacks, how to like dodge shit. Yeah.
Big time.
So going on with our spending stuff, do you think during the season, how much business do you think happens? Because like this year, I've been waiting to get some widgeon decoys. But when I got them, what's that?
Widgeon?
Widgeon.
Yeah. Depends how sophisticated you are. And but no, when I went and got them, I started thinking to myself, like, I wonder if like someone goes out and they shoot their first widgeon, if they just like, well, shit, there's widgeon here, I better buy 2 dozen widgeon decoys, and like, you know, spur you spending like that. Well, I bet you it happens.
So I've done it. I never pulled the trigger on the purchase because I just couldn't do it in time. But so I was told one time that pintail will only decoy with pintail.
Same with Goldeneye.
Is that right? So anyways, I was told pintail will only decoy with pintail. And I was out hunting one day, seen pintail, obviously didn't get a shot at him. And I'm like, I got to go buy some pintail decoy for that exact reason. Now, I didn't pull the trigger on it. But if I would have found used pintail decoys that was close by, I 100% would have bought them. 100%.
Lifetime has some nice ones.
My puddler spread consists of, I want to say, roughly either 4 or 5 dozen mallards, 6 blacks, 6 woodies. That's it.
So
no teal, no widgeon, no pennies.
I bought teal this year. I got them for Christmas. Yeah. I bought tangle. I got teal decoys for Christmas for that reason, because we see so many blue and green winged teal here at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. The idiots will decoy to anything.
What are your guys' thoughts on decoy like head positions? Like, you see like some companies come out with ones that are like half preening and then quarter preening, and
they look nice. They look nice.
So here, like, that's a topic for me.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things I believe in when it comes to obviously decoys is realism. That's what everyone believes in. The vast majority of my decoy spread are butt ups and skimmers feeders, because that's what ducks do when they're content and they're on water. Is they're either feeding or feeding. That's what they do. People get so hung up on, like, the upright, the low right, the sleeper, the left turn, the preener, all that jazz. No, when ducks hit water, like when they go from big water to small water or big water to fields, whatever the case may be, what are they doing when they get there? They're eating, right? So, like, especially like my little beloved pond that I hunt throughout the season, and obviously Damien's seen the spot. Like, I throw out a dozen decoys. 9 out of those dozen decoys are like skimmers and feeders or butt ups, because that's what they're doing. I like the least amount of like head up, upright duck decoys. Like, I like the resters, so whether it be like the low head or again like the feeders, skimmers, butt ups and stuff, like that's what you need, because that's what the ducks are doing when they hit these potholes. Is they're feeding, they're muddling around, picking through stuff and whatnot. Like, okay. I feel that's your bread and butter.
I can buy that, and most of my decoys are that way, and I've got some duck butts and stuff. So then, what's your thought on flocked heads? Because no one can convince me that flocked heads is worth it.
No,
I don't.
Like flocked heads are, I feel, it's the same argument as like eyes on decoys. If that bird is close enough to realize that decoy doesn't have eyes on its head, or the head's not flocked, you should be feeding them the good news.
Mm-hmm. And I found with flocking, especially with some of my decoys back in the day, like that flocking starts to come off and then it starts looking like shit. Yeah. So the original appeal of having that flocking on the head, it kind of wears. Now, that being said, a nice fully flocked black duck, it looks really good inside the center of your spread.
Yes, that is one of those anomalies.
Right? So, or dare I say, what about a coot?
Big shout out to Logan Minolti.
and Steve Horst. And there's a little bit of an inside joke. So anybody that's listening to Friday's episode, you'll get that inside joke that Dave Dave just brought up.
I can see the necessity with flock blocks, because they pop.
Yeah.
But anything else, like it sucks mud.
So have you guys ever gone through the process of flocking a decoy?
Nope.
No. So it's basically just like
it's messy and a pain in the dick.
It's messy, but you just get a great big tub and you put the flocking in it, and it's almost like you glue the bird, and then you use like
You flock it.
yeah, but what do you call that?
Spice shaker.
A spice shaker, or like a powder, like icing sugar shaker for like cakes. Yeah. You just use one of those and you shake it on there, and it's actually an easy process. Now, getting the materials here in Canada, I fucking given up.
And secondary note, pain in the ass.
100%. Yeah. But still, it's something that
flocking wears out a shit ton faster than the regular paint on a decoy.
Yeah. And I found you end up like wanting to be more careful with it, and like, oh, I'm going to scratch the flock,
Yeah. And I guess if you're the type of person that really, takes care of your gear, like I'm extremely hard on my gear. So flocking makes zero sense to me. But if you really take time and put all your decoys into, individual bags and in the slotted bags, and you're really careful with them, well, then maybe it makes sense to you because it'll last longer. But for me, I bet you I wouldn't even get a full season out of flock decoys.
Yeah. Like all of my duck decoys are all in slotted bags, with the exception of like literally 1 dozen. And that's the dozen I drag around for my pond shoots. And they're all in Texas rigs with a carabiner on the end of them. And literally that dozen gets taken off the wall and tossed into the back of the truck. Like not placed, tossed. I drive to my pond, they get chucked out of the truck, they get chucked onto the pond, and then away we go. Otherwise, all the rest of mine are all like babied, slotted bags, the whole nine.
Yeah, I don't do that shit.
So you run 4 dozen mallards.
Yeah, I got like four or 5 dozen, I think.
Half a dozen blacks and half a dozen. What'd you say? Woodies.
That's it.
Yeah. What do you run for a diver spread?
I got 5 dozen Dixies. I got a dozen cans, dozen reds, 3 dozen blues, and I got a couple dozen of. Oh, buddy, I couldn't even tell you what the hell they are.
Yeah,
but I'm running. I think it's a 9 dozen spread, all on long lines. Like those Dixies, like they get beaten the shit off the side of the gunnel, dragged across rocks, this and that. They get shot, and they still float.
Phil, are you going to start up guiding again this fall, or are you?
I don't know if I'll be doing it like on an official basis.
Right.
But if I was like referred like from someone from you or whatever, then I would
right.
I would take them out for sure. But I don't know if again, like because of COVID and all this other nonsense and whatnot, like I've tamed her back a little bit. But again, like if someone were to approach me and it's like, Damien sent me, Dave sent me, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to turn down, a friend of a friend, client wise.
I did want to bring something up because you mentioned your little pond there that you hunt, and not that I've given any location away because I wouldn't do that, but I had.
And they'll never find your body.
It'll be in that pond.
I'm gonna have to write the address of this pond somewhere for Trish to find if I ever go missing.
Yeah.
No, the reason why I bring it up is because I got a message from a lady a couple weeks ago, and she's really, really trying to build her waterfowl hunting portfolio. So photography. Oh. And she is in Oshawa. And I said, well, we would absolutely love to have you come out and hang out with us. And her boyfriend, I don't think she's married, but her and her boyfriend, I said, does he hunt? And she was like, oh yeah, he hunts. I said, well, why don't both of you come tag along one day and we'll hunt? I said, Phil is not far from Oshawa, so you wouldn't have that far to travel, and you could come try it out. So I may have volunteered us to hunt your field that you are going to organize.
Fuck, I'm such a nice guy.
You are a pretty awesome dude. just wanted to let you know that your pond or your field has already been booked.
Thanks, dude.
So, but now that you bring up photography with hunting,
yeah.
Ooh, nice
and
segue.
Phil,
Here
it's a great segue. But Phil, like I know you've done a lot of photography before, and I'm getting more into the filming my hunt side, not the.
I'm a complete and utter amateur. Don't kid yourself.
Fouled,
whatever.
fouled,
Yeah.
creative,
Collective.
Complete.
collective.
I can't even remember what the hell the name is.
That's because you just changed it, dude. You're not even used to. You're not even used to it.
It just sounds cooler.
Some of the things I've been looking at, like when I looked at getting my getting a camera to film this stuff, the GoPro being waterfowl.
Did you buy a $2,000 camera?
No.
Oh.
Fuck.
We don't talk about that stuff on this show.
I wish I could afford that right now. But like
Wise watch.
Yeah. How do they do waterproof ratings for cameras? And also, do you use some kind of case or something to get the camera out there, like added weight and all that stuff? Like what? Give me some tips, brother.
So when it comes to waterfowl proof rating, I've got no fucking clue. Flat out, that's like some scientific shit. I got no idea. You know what I do? I try not to get my shit wet.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I try. But when it comes to, yeah, try to keep my shit dry. Like when it comes to camera gear and stuff, like I run hard cases. So I first started out. This is the Nanook 915. This is the Vortex collaborative with Punisher Waterfowl Edition.
That's a $9,000 case right there.
Yeah, you two can have this case for $899.95, or like I don't know, lots of money. Anyways, so Nanook offers like basically three versions of their cases. There's cube foam, padded inserts, and then just like your bare bones, no foam, no insert cases. So this is my first case. I outgrew this thing in about 2 fucking weeks. Let me tell you, this is like the padded picky plucky foam,
and that's fully waterproof, eh?
Oh yeah, like this thing you could submerge this bitch. Oh yeah, like you could gasket. It's got like some purge valve under here. Like this thing is like legit. Like you can, I'm not saying you do this, but you'd almost like run this thing over with a bicycle, and it'll protect your camera.
You could probably. Oh, never mind. I won't say that on the show. I was going to say something.
I was going to say you can run it over the truck, and then if people are going to start doing it, then they're going to get sued. That's why I said bicycle.
I was going to say something else.
But the locking mechanisms on these things are amazing. So that's the 9. Fucking losing my goddamn earbuds. So that's the 915. I grew that thing real quick because I had like just like a camera and a lens, and like that was it for that case. So then I upgraded to what was this one? The 930. This is like a big ass case. Again, it's the Punisher Waterfowl Edition Nanook case. This one, which is like a way better option. If you go to camera, you got like an extended battery on your grip. You got a couple lenses, some other accessories and shit. This is the way to go. So this bad boy,
a small tripod.
Fuck, I have one of those. It doesn't fit in here though. But this bad boy's got like the divided mixy matchy inserts.
Holy Christ!
And like all these things are velcroed and stuff, so you can like adjust like your sizes. Like for this lens, I got like my cloth in here, some other jazz. My body, my big shoulder straps in here.
So you don't take your camera out of that case if it's raining then?
No, this sits in here. Again, like Nanook makes an amazing case. It's completely and utterly waterproof. I've got zero qualms about dragging this thing out in a muddy cornfield, toss it at the bottom of my 18.5-foot boat, just because I know how much people love hearing about the goddamn boat.
You make one comment.
But I've got zero qualms about dragging this thing outside, snow, mud, lake. Like I don't care.
So
And
Phil,
like for airline,
now, yeah, no, go for airline.
it's got, you can see if you can get the little
Oh,
shine.
lock it.
The little
Yeah, you
metal
can lock it.
grommets, there's one in each corner for throwing locks through it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now,
Like
I
the
know.
nut cases are legit.
Now I know Dave is going a really roundabout way of getting to him starting to film with the kayak and stuff like that. So maybe having a great big case is not doable for you, Dave, on the kayak. So what are you going to do? Are you going to go with like these waterproof bags or?
No, so
I'll be back.
oh,
Yeah, I don't know where mine is.
so
Tiffany.
An epiphany.
did he say something about breakfast at Tiffany's?
No, Tiffany.
Oh, okay. No, I'm right now. I just got the GoPros. Unless I
Right.
figure out how to do this right and make the product that I think you and I would be happy with,
Mhm.
I don't think I'm going to get any kind of like camera that
Right.
we need. Right. So for GoPros, I can store those in like a jacket pocket almost.
Right.
And
Right.
and GoPro's new thing with their new cameras, if you sign up for their yearly subscription, you break the camera, they send you a new one.
Oh, really?
It's like $60 a
Ooh.
year. You break the camera, they send you a new one.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So look it up. It's a pretty sweet deal.
That is a
So,
sweet deal.
Back to the whole camera thing. Your other option is I have a gun case, and I use this like for my diver hunts in the boat and whatnot. This has got like your roll top,
Yeah.
like seal
Yep.
thing. Like this thing is like near bulletproof.
And that would
Um,
float too, right? With a camera in it, that would float.
So this is a gun case that I've got. I'll try to scan it past the camera. Ooh. This is a gun case that I bought. This actually floats, but there's a number of companies that make these like, for lack of a better term, it's called a dry bag. So it's your roll top and your little buckles that seal it together. There's a number of companies that actually make blind bags out of like the same material. And for the purposes of like kayak hunting and stuff, and obviously, I'll be kayak hunting a ton this fall. Be getting into
I think we all are,
new,
buddy.
Yeah.
Gonna be getting into the new canoe game.
Is this because you don't want to pay for gas, right?
That's 100% is what it is.
Yeah.
I'll be investing in a blind bag of similar design and material, and I'll literally just be bringing out the body of my camera and like my 24 to 105 lens. It's
Yep.
a smaller package. It'll fit in the blind bag, 2 boxes of shells, thermos of coffee, and away you go. And being in the kayak, depending on where you're hunting, whether if you're shallow water and you're in and out of the kayak, you're dragging water, you're dragging mud, you're dragging weeds and crap into the boat. That dry line bag is going to save like your $2,000, $3,000 camera.
Mhm.
Spend like the $50, the $80, $100, and get that good blind bag if you're kayak hunting. You'll be beyond thankful if you buy a crap bag and like you destroy shit. You got shell boxes, they're made of cardboard. They're not impenetrable to the water. So you're gonna have shotgun shells spilling out all over the boat and stuff. Get a good waterproof dry bag.
Or you could buy some Punisher Waterfowl shell savers.
That you can.
I also want to point out, I don't know if you guys have watched Duck Lore.
Actually,
I don't know. Did you see
I'm
the
embarrassed.
bags?
I haven't watched.
I haven't watched the newest. I haven't.
it's-
So one dropped last night, right?
Yeah, the diver
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, I haven't
in
seen that
Michigan.
one yet.
Steven Ranella, they kind of sneakily show him getting in the boat and someone handing him a bag that has First Light camo on it.
Pardon me.
Oh.
I'm just saying, it looks beautiful. It looks pretty nice. I'm pretty interested. Now, First Light also has on their site dry bags. Like they do have dry
Right.
bags.
Yeah, they do, and they do have stuff sacks too, right? So
yeah, those are the dry bag. Yeah, and then they have the dirt duffels too.
yeah.
So, but like, hopefully they start bringing that stuff out soon so I have my budget for the season and I haven't spent any of it, but I'm getting tempted. Hopefully they release this stuff soon so we can start buying.
I don't have a budget. That's why I need more people to start ringing the bell on and subscribing so I can get a budget.
Yeah. Touche. So.
So ring the bell so I can buy stuff.
Yeah.
And support these.
The
DJs.
Buy some hats and shit.
Yeah. PunisherWaterfowl.com.
I can't wait for that offset trucker hat to come back in stock. That was my favorite hat. I know that they can't get the hat right now, but
no. So that's that one.
It had the Punisher logo just in this bottom corner here. Like, that was my favorite hat.
I think I designed that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It was a nice hat.
Yeah.
I do have an artistic touch.
See, I think it's all that time you spend behind the camera. One of the best photographers in Ontario, I dare say, for waterfowl.
Who's that?
You.
Oh.
Best amateur.
Have you been drinking?
A little bit.
Clearly not enough.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know where mine is.
I do have the odd moment where you capture something in the light and
okay, Phil.
use all the auto fucking settings on the camera.
How many times do you think that shutter clicks before you get one good image?
Oh, shots per usage, you're probably, I want to say 5%. Yeah, like I'd say like out of 100 pictures, you're in the neighborhood of like 5, 6.
Yeah. And how much post editing do you do? Because it's kind of funny. I was looking at like settings for the GoPro and settings for like doing like reviews, like review on blind bags and stuff like that. Like, how do you image that?
Well, part of it is your level of expectations. Now, I've gone through pictures and I've had a number of things that were likely passable for like, usage stuff for like social media, like for company usage for social media accounts and stuff. And I am like my worst enemy when it comes to critiquing photos. If there's like one thing that just doesn't sit right with me, boom, trash can.
Mm-hmm.
I am my own worst enemy. And like I said, like there's been a number of photos where I probably could have submitted them and they would have been used, but I'm like, I don't like that. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Gonzo. But when it comes to post editing, I don't know, I'm probably 2 to 3 minutes per picture, give or take.
Yep. See, when I was searching for one, it was like how they edit pictures, and it actually did one on how they get glowing skin tones for like magazines and stuff.
Yep.
And they actually like set brightness and everything to like the top level, and then they save it, and then they reintroduce the darkening afterwards.
Okay.
It was a really cool little video that I watched on how they did all this stuff. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. It has nothing to do with me because I'm going to be ugly whether I'm bright skinned or not. But
that's
like,
true.
For this lady, it worked really well. That's
but there's thousands and thousands of tips and tricks on how to go about editing photos. And like one thing I do, I use Lightroom, and I use Lightroom on a Mac, and I will go through the settings from like the settings pop up on your right side of your screen as you're going through, and I will go through the settings top to bottom every single time. And that's how I edit my photos. And that's a problem that I have. I need to break out of that, where there's the times where I need to like maybe go through and edit my photos going through the settings from the bottom up. So, like start with like your contrast or your clarity, your dehaze, and then work your way up into your shadows, your whites or blacks, and so forth. Like, you can edit a photo left or right and you'll achieve something. You edit that same photo right to left, and it'll look night and day different. You constantly got to change your game and just try. You got to get out of the comfort box.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing is fear of change. You got to get
Now,
out of it and try something new.
when you're shooting your photos, do you shoot like your images? They call it raw or
Yep, 100% raw every time.
100% raw, right?
Yep.
So with the GoPro that I was looking at,
Way better quality.
yeah, it's actually talking about the new set. I forget what it's called, but they have a new setting that's like natural tones, something
Okay.
like that. And that's what a lot of people are doing their video in, just because it looks nicer and it brings out the natural, and you can edit it better. So, yeah.
Anything that's going to help your editing is
Mhm.
going to help you like tenfold down the road. Like
Yeah.
shooting raw. The quality of photos that you can get out of shooting raw over JPEG, like you can always save to JPEG after you're done. Like you've got your raw photo, you edit it, you're done. Okay, yeah, I like that. That looks amazing. Then you can save it to a JPEG and then disperse accordingly.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Good. And when you're taking these pictures, do you like them to be brighter or darker? Like too much or
Dark.
too little exposure,
Dark.
right? You can always add exposure, right?
100%. 99 times out of 100, shoot dark. It is a shit ton easier to lighten a photo than it is to darken it. And that was a tip that I actually learned from, my buddy Jordan Stone.
Yeah.
Is shoot dark. It is always easier to lighten than it is to darken. And 9 times out of 10, you look at the vast majority of these like outdoor waterfowl hunting dog related photos, there's at least what I call is like a very much like a brown tone to these pictures. You shoot dark and lighten them just a touch, and like you're in that window of what the going thing is these days for these types of photos.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Shoot
Good.
dark.
Damien, you awake?
I'm just soaking it all in. You got this.
He's like bamboozled.
This is riveting conversation.
He's just sucking it in like a central vat.
I'm I'm a sponge. See,
Yes.
this is really interesting to me. But the thing is that it's one ear, it's in one ear and out the other, right? Like I will not retain any of what you're saying. If I don't do it with my hands, then I'll never remember.
You
right?
are a visual learner. That's what we call
I'm
that.
just, or I'm not smart.
SMRT.
You can say it. No, it is. It's all good points, and it's something that we're seeing more and more of. Like, so Dave's asking these questions now because he's getting into the videography more so than the photography. But we're seeing it more and more. Like there are so many people right now that is using the off season to take their pictures or to try and start honing their craft and getting really good at it, so that by the time the season comes, they're up and running and they know what they're supposed to do. So you know what? It's a great topic. It's just Dave won't let me buy a $2,000 camera, so I'm not real interested in.
You know what? He's come down $1,000 since the start of the episode. You started at 3, you're down to 2.
Two. I like to set a low bar when I'm asking for stuff, and then I just say, well, there's taxes and shit that got to get added to it, right? So that's why.
So here's one for you. So this off season, like we'll get into like the photography things here for a minute. Your off season time is that time to like say go to like the duck park and shoot photos, shoot still photos, shoot moving photos, shoot low light, shoot highlight, all sorts of jazz. This is that time to get your camera out and start playing with your settings. I shoot full manual. So I've got full control out of my shutter speed, my f-stop, and my ISO. I control all of this shit. So my 2 lenses, my big lens, my 70 to 200 is a 2.8. So the 2.8 f-stop it allows more light in on your photo. And my 24 to 105 is an f4, little less light allowed in on said shutter thing. But like that time you spend on the off season playing with these settings, you'll get to know, okay, so my 2.8 camera, or sorry, my 2.8 lens, my big 70-200, big white beast, I can shoot lower light in this lens because it allows more light in to take said photo.
Now, that number is backwards, isn't it? Like a smaller F number lets in more light.
Yeah, the closer you get to 1, the more light.
Yeah, so you want a lower F number to get more light.
Mind you, the lower that number is, the higher the dollar figure.
Exactly. Well, still.
Yeah. It is what it is. But I control all my settings. My 70-200, I have it always set on 2.8 for my f-stop, and then I adjust my shutter speed accordingly. So if it's low light, I'll boost my ISO to like a 1250 whatever, and then I'll shoot a slightly slower shutter speed, but still retaining a sharp image. And I might have to take that photo like 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 times, constantly like playing with my dial, getting the sharpness right. Again, that's where it comes down. Like, yeah, you may have to take 100, 120 photos to get 6. That's what happens. Welcome to photography.
So Phil, the biggest piece of advice you gave me so far that I've been looking and in all my research for photography gear was to get a full frame camera. Can you explain full frame versus
crop sensor? Full sensor versus crop sensor. Inside here is some like science. That's what I call it. Science. Inside your camera, there's a sensor. And a full frame sensor, when you take a photo, what you see through your viewfinder is what you get. Full frame. It takes everything you see, that's your photo. A crop sensor will crop, for lack of a better term. It crops shit.
Yeah. So take like the image that they're seeing of us right now and just like,
and then you get like 75% of it.
Like that's the crop sensor, and then that's the full frame.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what
for lack of a better term? Yeah.
I'm just trying to. Yeah.
Full frame's the way to go because you can always do the cropping. Don't let said camera do the cropping for you because you might miss out on shit.
Yeah.
And there's times where I've taken a photo and like, this is where it pays to subscribe to YouTube. I'm using visual aids. There's times where you take a photo like this and what you really wanted was like over here, but you want it centered. If you do the cropping yourself, as opposed to letting some freaking computer do it for you, which doesn't know any better because if it's made by humans, it's fucked. You can do your adjustments and center what you wanted, and then obviously do your editing and such, and develop an amazing photo. Get full frame cameras.
And do you much look into the size of the sensor, or just a full frame sensor is good?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm reasonably new to this.
Okay. No.
So I shoot a Canon EOS 6D just because that's what I could afford, and the shutter count on this thing was like 3,000, which is like that's like basically taking a brand new car and driving it from the lot across the street to the gas station. And it wasn't broken in. So I'm like, this is a smoking deal. You don't need a $5,000 or $6,000 body to take smoking photos. You can take a reasonably half decent photo. You spend that extra minute and 2 in post production, and you're crushing it. It's time versus cash.
What kind of, say I have $1,000 budget. I know it's bigger. How much would you spend on the body versus the lenses? Because I read a thing that's like, spend way more on your lens. A shitty body and an excellent lens is the way to go.
Yeah, spend the money on the glass because it's the glass that does the work. Now, I'm very content with what I have. So I've got a 70-200 2.8 and a 24-105 f4. A lot of guys run the 24-70 2.8. So it allows that lot more low light shooting, like stuff that's in the blind and this and that. But in all honesty, like I've never had an issue with my little 24 to 105 f4, like it's done me well. You can boost your ISO on your body. It lightens your photos a little bit more. You're going to add a little bit of grain, but then again, in post production, you can get rid of the grain. Like there's a lot of give and take, but this lens is a shit ton cheaper than like a 24 to 70 2.8.
And do you have to get how much closer would I have to get with a 105 versus a 200?
It all depends what you're shooting.
It all depends.
It's negligible.
Yeah.
Like a couple steps, and even then you can crop.
Yeah.
If you really need to.
Good.
Yeah.
This kind of went in a total different direction than I thought tonight would go when we started on photography. Right? Like
this is the hockey sock.
So anyway, where'd we start? Yeah. So if you're selling decoys,
send them to me.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing too, when it comes to camera stuff, spend your money on good SD cards. Get good cards. Like this card here that I'm shooting. It's a Lexar Professional. It's a 64 gig card. I'm going to be getting some 128 soon. But this shoots 250 megabytes per second. That's the speed in which this little card like processes shit. The faster it processes stuff, like the more you can like shoot. And there's been times where I've legit overrun an SD card because I was pulling the trigger a shit ton faster than it could absorb stuff. And I'm like, fucking come on, take the pictures. I'm like ready to throw my camera and stuff. Spend the money on a good SD card.
Yeah, and you
will not Hulk smash shit.
Yeah. I'm trying to find there's a good image somewhere of like what each little thing means. The speed classes. Yeah. Like and 2 megabytes a second is the old speed, but the new speed is like 90 megabytes a second for 8K video.
Yeah, like right? I'm running 250s.
Yeah.
Yeah, just speed in which the little card processes things. It's like how fast your the little hamster in your noggin spins.
Yeah, so there's a little image on your card, and it'll be like a U with a 1 in it, or a U with a 3 in it, or a check mark with a 6, 10, 30, 60, 90. Yeah. If it's the check mark with the 6, 10, 30, 60, 90, that's your megabytes per second.
We've completely lost Damien.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm just trying to, you know what?
I'm looking at my SD card here right now, and
I've got it's the difference between a hamster. It's the difference between a hamster on a little spin wheel and a chinchilla on steroids on a little spinny wheel.
Squirrel.
Yes.
What's yours there, Damien?
Well, thanks for including me in the conversation, fellas. Hey, it's I'm joking. It's a U. So this is the one that I use in my trail cam, right? So it's a U1, and then it has like a C10.
So the U is the U1 is 10 megabytes a second, and the C10 is 10 megabytes a second. Like it's just the two different ratings, right? There's not a standardized rating system. There's 3 different ones. But this, I forget which one it is. One of them actually only goes up to the 10. Like the C with the 10 in it. Yeah. That's the fastest that speed class is. The U only has the U1 and the U3, and the check mark goes up to the 90.
But then it has 90 megabytes per second written on it.
Yeah.
See?
This is processing speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another good thing to have for your camera case, SD card box. So I've got one card. I've got one card in the camera. That is the most
high-speed fucking thing I've ever seen, dude.
All right, it's a high-speed come apart. I got one card in the camera. I got 4 more here, and I'm gonna be buying 2 more to go out west.
Boys, as much as I.
I just wanted to show this is the speed class.
What?
And
yeah, that's how you make shit work.
Just thought I'd let everyone see it, just so I knew that there was a good picture. This is for videos. Like I've been researching that a lot, but I just thought everyone should see, like, your SD card will show your different speeds. And then that way, like which one you're going to get and which one. So essentially, I don't think they make the 2 and the 4 anymore. Like, why would they?
Right.
You know, but
Yeah.
anyway, just thought I'd share that.
Boys, as riveting as this conversation has been, we are well over our 60-minute mark. And I know the two of you can go on for a lot more. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want more information about photography and especially, you know, tips and tricks on making sure that your gear is looked after and is protected and stuff, listen, leave us a message, fire us off a question, anything, and we'll talk about it on the show. Dave and Phil and Mark, and I know Mark's got some experience with photography as well. You know, the boys would be more than happy to sit down and talk more about this. So if you got more questions, please fire us off an email or a comment on the YouTube or whatever, however you want to get the message to us. Boys, as I'm joking here, it is good content and it is good stuff to talk about. So I wish we could keep it going, but we are well over. Phil, you had something you wanted to say, buddy?
Yeah, message like the Puncher account, message Dave or myself personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we are always glad to help.
Mm-hmm.
We're very receptive to criticism. Like we're here for you. Like you might
And
even
Phil,
teach us something. Like,
and Phil, we have been getting requests. Like, are you seriously bringing 8.5 by 11 headshots to the Toronto Sportsman Show for autographs? Because
no.
people have been asking.
Get fucked. No.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Phil, over to you for the last words, buddy.
Another great episode. And again, we're gonna have another great shout out to the Nutcases because they build good shit in Canada. And our good friends at the Real Outdoor Experience, they use a Nuck. I use a Nuck. I'm gonna use some more in a Nuck when I go out west to Saskatchewan because I need a rifle case. But yeah,
I've got an enough case too.
Support Canadian. Like they make great stuff and it's made here.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Dave, on to you.
Thanks, brother. So
Try my best.
Yeah, you know what? I know it was a dry episode when it came to the camera stuff, but you know what? We're trying to help a vast majority of the people. And
Absolutely.
you know what? It evolved into what it evolved into. So I hope that we didn't lose any subscribers because of it. But you know what? Hey,
no,
if there's anything anybody ever needs to know, we are not experts, but we will find out for you for sure.
Yeah, we may not have the answers, but we know where to get the answers. Dave, good point. Listen, it is the off season and people are trying to figure out ways to keep themselves busy, and they are trying to hone their craft for when the season starts. So I think it was great. It was great stuff. I wish I could retain it and add some sense to what you guys were talking about, because I heard ISO and all I thought was 9001. As soon as I heard ISO, I was like 9001.
I was making notations, Damien, with crayons and napkins. I will forward those to you at the Sportsman Show.
Awesome. Yeah, great. And the Toronto Sportsman Show. So Craig Mintz, I'm sorry it's taken us so long in this episode to get to this, but we received your package that you want us to give away at the Toronto Sportsman Show. Buddy, it is amazing. So listen, if you're still listening and you're coming to the Toronto Sportsman Show, I'm going to tell you right now, it behooves you to be a subscriber to our YouTube channel, because we have a truckload of shit that we've got to give away, and it's being given away.
Don't forget Vortex. Don't forget Vortex.
Yeah, Vortex. We got Vortex that we've already talked about the Vortex stuff. I've shown the hats and stuff. But we just got the Real Geese stuff on Monday or Tuesday. So we're going to have a lot of stuff.
Could you imagine going to the Sportsman Show, paying your $20 ticket entry fee and walking out with like a free set of Pro Series decoys or something? I don't know.
Could you imagine paying that $20 to get into the Sportsman Show
Seeing
and
Phil.
walking out of the Sportsman Show with fuck all because you didn't subscribe to the Punisher 0430 Waterfowl podcast.
Even better. Well done, Philly.
Snap.
Well done, Philly. And
You know
what,
ladies
Phil?
and gentlemen, that's why we keep them around for stuff like that right
If I
there.
had a microphone, I would drop it right now.
You know what? Maybe we'll be nice and we'll let people subscribe at the booth that haven't heard of us.
Yeah. Like I said, like, subscribe, smash, share, push them on the fucking buttons, yo. There might
Ladies
be
and gentlemen,
YouTube exclusive giveaways.
Ooh.
I might hand out a sticker.
You have those little deputy sheriff badges,
Officer Doofy.
Officer Doofy.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah.
hey now. Ladies and gentlemen, this was episode 87 of the Union 0430. We say it all the time. We're not experts, but
God, no.
we'll get you the answers that you're looking for. Listen, if you, like Dave has said, Phil has said, Mark, Brian, everybody's always said it. If you have an idea for a show, fire us a message because we would love to hear about it. And then you wouldn't have to listen to us drone on about fucking cameras. So
and frankly, we're 80 something episodes in and we're like legit run out of shit to talk about.
Well, you know what? We got a good episode coming up with the Delta Waterfowl.
yeah, we do.
Right?
Yes.
So now is a good time to get some questions in for him. And I know we've had people reach out. That could become a long episode though, right?
It could be.
Maybe two-parter?
Yeah, actually,
Part-
that's a
part
good.
duh?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh.
Maybe we do go past that hour. We just slice it in half, Dave.
We've never done that.
that's-
Part duh.
We should have done that today with the person that we had today. Because I know
JJ?
because I know you were chomping at the bit and you had a ton more questions. Anyways,
Dave
ladies and
had a
gentlemen, we've
twinkle in
taken.
his eye.
Yeah, we've taken up enough of your time on this episode. Thank you so much for the continued support, for sending your comments, for subscribing, everything. You have no idea how much it means to us. As always, surround yourself with good people and good things will happen to you. Big love from all of us here at the Union 0430. Until next time.